the people united will never be defeated.
Right.
Right. And so that's what we're talking about. The threat at the end of the day is not so much about injustice. It's being reported that way. Right. And, oh my God, there's injustice and I'm a white person and I'm being discriminated against. Well, no, these people are just trying to keep you from talking to the Black people, from talking to the Latinos, from talking to the LGBT people. That's what's happening. They don't want us all having these conversations and saying, you know what? It's the rich people over here who are the problem. That's what we're seeing. That's why MLK died. And I'll be quiet.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lisa.
And KK's here too. And you're listening to Blacktivities,
a celebration of all things Black.
Black culture, Black history,
Black perspectives, and Black panache.
Celebrating our Blackness doesn't mean exclusion.
Everybody's invited, but you gotta come in and have a seat.
So let the Blacktivities begin. What's up? What's up? I'm Shannon here with my brilliant and beautiful co-hosts, Mona Lisa the Poet and Miss Karen, better known as KK. Today we're about to get into it because we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, aka DEI. And this is a hot topic right now because I think a lot of people are feeling away. So much so that I reposted something on my IG out of my own annoyance and frustration, not thinking about it at all. And it went viral with over like 1 million views because people were just going off in the comments and sharing it like crazy.
And still are.
Still are. Yeah. I also discovered how much people love Stacey Abrams because she was the one talking. It wasn't even me. And a lot of the comments were showing her love.
It is a hot topic. And I feel like most people who are having conversations about it know nothing about it. Let's just keep it 100. They ain't talking about it, don't know nothing about it, never experienced it, never been a part of the process. And so this is a great opportunity to clear some things up.
Yep. KK is our resident expert on this because that's the work that she does. So before we really go in, our season sponsor, Hope Inc., which stands for Helping Other People Be Empowered, provides single parents who are trying to get a degree with assistance for childcare and rent. But it's not just about money. They also provide the resources for these single parents to elevate their entire life. They provide budget coaching, life skill training, and even counseling services so that these single women and men can grow and thrive and better themselves for the next generation and generations to come. So for more information about how you can become a Hope participant or support these single mothers, visit their website, hopbe.org. It's linked in our show notes. All right. Y'all ready for this? Here's the big facts. First, I want to say it was kind of actually difficult to find information. And there was, in a sense, so much that I was looking at that I was like, where do I start here? So I'm just going to start with this. On January 20th, 2025, an executive order was signed by your president ending DEI. If you go to the White House website and look at it, there's this big heading and it says, ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. And so I actually looked at the order because I want to see what it says for myself. The order calls DEI programs shameful discrimination, public waste, illegal, and immoral. It says this was a concerted effort, and I'm quoting, stemming from President Biden's first day in office when he issued Executive Order 13985, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. I have that linked in the show notes along with all of the other things that I'm referencing. So I encourage you to go look at it yourself. It's not just enough to listen to what people say about things anymore, because it's like impossible to determine what's true and what isn't. So go look at the information yourself or what was said yourself so you know the real truth. So the day after that, another executive order went out with another large heading that says, ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity. And it accuses DEI of violating the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And it doubles down on what was said in the previous order about DEI being discriminatory. It eliminates environmental justice initiatives in minority and low-income populations, equal employment opportunity executive orders, and says the Department of Labor cannot promote diversity. All plain as day, it's written out. It takes away the requirement on government documents that requires people to sign off that they did not violate any anti-discrimination laws. And this one I'll quote. It says, terminate all diversity, equity, equitable decision-making, equitable deployment of financial and technical assistance, advancing equity, and like mandates, requirements, programs, or activities as appropriate. And it says that he has to be informed, he, the president, on everything so that his administration can formulate the best civil rights policy. Now, all this sounds familiar. We had an episode where we talked about some things with Project 2025. All of this was in there. Now, y'all remember how all these corporations are pulling their DEI initiatives? Looking at this executive order for myself makes me believe that this is why they're doing that. Because the order says that in 120 days, the Attorney General is supposed to complete a report with a proposed strategic enforcement plan containing recommendations, and I'm quoting here, for enforcing federal civil rights laws and taking other appropriate measures to encourage the private sector to end illegal discrimination and preferences, including DEI. So the report that they want created is supposed to basically snitch on the agencies that have DEI programs. They call them key sectors of concern. And it says this, and this is another quote. Each agency shall identify up to 9 potential civil compliance investigations of publicly traded corporations. So that's going to be your Targets, your Walmarts, your Amazons, and all these companies that have done away with their DEI. Large nonprofit corporations or associations, foundations with assets of $500 million or more, state and local bar and medical associations, and institutions of higher education with endowments over $1 billion. So some of those don't even have anything to do with the government. Other strategies to encourage the private sector to end illegal DEI discrimination and preferences and comply with all federal civil rights laws. There's also something in there that says litigation that would be potentially appropriate for federal lawsuits, intervention, or statements of interest, and potential regulatory action and sub-regulatory guidance. So basically, they're trying to sue these companies if they think that they're doing DEI. So from what I see in this, that is probably why these corporations are taking away their DEI programs, because they don't want to get into legal issues because of what they're doing. Because it says in this executive order that they're going to pursue lawsuits. I went back and I looked at the language of Executive Order 13985. that Biden signed, which was referenced as being discriminatory, and it defined equity. So the term equity, according to that executive order that Biden signed, says the term equity means the consistent and systematic, fair, just, and impartial treatment of all individuals, including individuals who belong to underserved communities that have been denied such treatment, such as Black, Latino, and Indigenous and Native American persons, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and other persons of color, members of religious minorities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, LGBTQ plus persons, persons with disabilities, persons who live in rural areas, and persons otherwise adversely affected by persistent poverty or inequality. So it does mention Black people. It does mention the LGBTQ plus community, but there are a lot of other persons included in this. And I think even veterans are included in DEI, right? So I also noticed that the language of these orders is very different. So Biden's order was like, research the statistics on this stuff. These people are going to be in a committee, and then we'll come together, look at the data, and come up with some strategies to help make everything fair. But Trump's orders are like, this is my agenda. Find out who's not doing it, and we're going to come up with a plan to sue them and ruin them or fire everybody, basically. So, like I said, I encourage you, go look at all these things yourself. They're all linked in the show notes. And that's my big facts.
Thank you for that.
That's a lot to take in.
It is.
It's blatant. It gives, I know I said one thing, but I'm going to continue to do what I want to do to take care of my own self.
He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And the people who voted for him wanted it.
No, it was comedic though, because remember he got on TV and he was just like, I want to make sure all Black people feel safe, and that's where it had all of the, I want to be careful how I refer to the African American Trump supporters, but it had them all out.
Oh, the raccoons.
Oh, okay. There we go. I was trying to be on my best behavior on this episode.
The raccoons.
Yeah. And I'm just so dumbfounded now. And I wish that we should give them a platform and let's have them double back and let's see what they say now. Because I'm curious. Because I think they're quiet. Yeah. Am I missing something? Are they out there and still talking?
Oh, they're happy. I'm sure. They don't care. No. They didn't care in the beginning. They know what they're getting. They don't care. So thank you for that.
Yes.
I'm glad you said it. It is a lot to take in. And let me just clarify what DEI is, or EDI as I prefer to call it.
Break it down.
It is a process or a mechanism of incorporating and addressing diversity, equity, and inclusion into organizations to create a more inclusive environment where people are engaged and share a sense of belonging. Veterans, people with learning disabilities or intellectual disabilities, rainbow groups, Black, Latino, different affinity groups. So what you normally see in an environment that is trying to promote equity is you see people who are saying, oh, I'm going to join this affinity group or that affinity group. We're all within the same organization, but we want to talk about how this organization wants to be better at hearing our voices and at making sure it's an equitable place to work. It's really just about the insurance of these things. It is not about what affirmative action set out to do. So let me define that. Affirmative action was a targeted program designed to improve representation when it came to gender and race. So affirmative action said 10 Black people, 10 women, quotas. That was different. And of course, they got rid of affirmative action because God forbid there's any justice when it's 60% white and 40% everybody else. So what we saw happen at the voting booth was and I'll say this, there are white women affinity groups. There was an amazing white women's affinity group where in one of the areas that I work, these women got in there, they learned, and they became one of the strongest affinity groups we had. And it was really about them saying, we want to learn, we want to understand, and we want to be sure that we are proponents of equity for everybody. So they got rid of affirmative action for that reason. The way these organizations manifest it are not all the same. So you won't actually see affinity groups in every organization, but most of the organizations I have been in had affinity groups. And so what would happen is, let's say you have 4 or 5 affinity groups, they all got together and they said, hey, we've all decided that these are the areas that we want to focus on. Let's say it's a Latino group and they want to focus on language access, or they want to focus on making sure that folks who spoke other languages got paid justifiably for being the Spanish go-to person in your job. It makes sense, right? So it's little things like that. This was never meant to say you have to have this many people and they don't have to meet the criteria. It was never that. But because it's been so propagandized and bastardized by these people, and they're so afraid of anybody having a voice, that they're trying to accuse this of being some sort of preferential program when it is not. But I want to take it one step further and then I'll be quiet. This is also the reason. Remember when Martin Luther King went from talking about civil rights issues as they pertain to Black people to talking about civil rights issues as they pertain to everybody? Mm-hmm. That's what got him killed, right? Because it was about the people uniting and the 1% feeling threatened. Who's in office right now? Part of that percentage, right? So this is a threat to them. If these people get together and they are having conversations about what is inequitable in our world, in our culture, in our society, what happens? The people united will never be defeated. Right. And so that's what we're talking about. The threat at the end of the day is not so much about injustice. It's being reported that way. And, oh my God, there's injustice and I'm a white person and I'm being discriminated against. Well, no, these people are just trying to keep you from talking to the Black people, from talking to the Latinos, from talking to the LGBT people. That's what's happening. They don't want us all having these conversations and saying, you know what? It's the rich people over here who are the problem. That's what we're seeing. That's why MLK died. And I'll be quiet.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Because when you actually talk to people and you actually learn about their humanness, then the conversation changes. Yes. I think that post that I was referencing, I kind of peruse the comments and see what people are saying. So the people who were talking negatively on that post, they were saying, well, DEI didn't work anyway. White women benefited most from DEI. Which may be true, right? But to me, the part of it that is just nasty is that I feel like it was a direct attack of us. Like I feel like this was done because DEI equals brown people. And they want to get rid of DEI to spite us. That's what I feel like. This whole talk about merit-based, people were going off about merit-based because who in Trump's cabinet got their job based on merit?
It's like he's just picking and choosing based on who made him laugh at the Tea Party prior that day. It doesn't make sense, the people that he is assigning in his cabinet. Like, it does not make sense. They have absolutely no qualifications to be put in there. And to be honest, I said I wasn't going to say his name. Elon Musk, Lord Jesus.
Oh, you mean the first lady?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I want to be respectful.
Elon's the first lady.
Yes. I don't get it. Why does he even have a voice? Why is he even there? Like, please. And I know I'm going to get off topic a little bit, but him giving his speech and him making certain hand gestures that they made an excuse for. And I'm like, why are y'all even making an excuse? It does not make sense. And that's why I think I said this to y'all. If it was okay for him to make that hand gesture, y'all go to work Monday morning and y'all do that. And see what type of response you're going to get. If it's okay. Mm. But they do. Like this merit situation, it's like they're saying abracadabra, look at my hand here, this is what we're doing. And then the other hand's behind their back and they're just doing what they want to do. Like they have their own magic trick. You know how you have that corny person that's supposed to be a magician and you're sitting there looking at them like, bruh, that is not magic. Like, I feel like, come on, like we're sitting here looking at you like, bruh, this is not magic. Like I see the other, like you tried to make the flowers go away, but we see you threw the flowers on the ground and we're looking at the flowers and we're looking at you and we're like, please, make common sense great again. Make common sense great again. Please, Jesus.
And that's just not how things work, unfortunately. And it is unfortunately, right? Because I want them to work in the way that we can say, oh, yes, everything is merit-based. But it's not. It does not currently work that way. I made the point to someone because I just had to say something because they threw out merit-based whatever. And I was like, okay, well, according to your logic, like Black women should have more positions of power because we're some of the most qualified people in the country, right?
The most educated demographic.
Yeah. We are always overqualified and still not getting the job. So
don't get me started.
Merit-based does not work because people don't play by the rules, right? It's about who you know, whose family you came from, and how much money you have.
Right.
And I just want to add what we're witnessing. So what we're witnessing, just like when he said, stand up and stand down or whatever, this is this right here, what we're witnessing is a dog whistle to racists, sexists, homophobes, that there are no consequences for whatever they do. So we've seen somebody come into office who's a 34-time convicted felon. We're seeing somebody make moves in office who has no role, no position. We saw however many people he released from the January 6th episode. So this is saying, this is it in your face. This is what we are witnessing. And so with taking equity away, we're saying, y'all can do whatever you want. And there's no DEI stuff to hold you accountable for being racist, sexist, homophobic, and xenophobic, and all of the things. That is what we are witnessing. And I want to add this, with that being taken away, what we're also seeing is, and I believe this, somebody said very recently, and I want to give credit to whoever it was. I'm not sure if it was Whoopi or Sonny or even if it was my friend brother Jeff, but either way, it was somebody I was around recently might have been Whoopi, because I always watch Whoopi on The View, who said, what we are witnessing is our political landscape changing forever. Our two-party system and the way government has run will probably never exist again. And they were saying that this is probably the formation of the third party that we've been talking about having. So what we're seeing now is this third party in place, because there are a lot of Republicans who have detached and don't support this administration. MAGA is an entity in and of itself. So we are witnessing the rise of this third party. And I sort of agree with that. I'd like to see if I could fast forward 4 years and see what happens. But we're seeing that as a potential third party.
Right. And it's just bananas that we have to sit here and just take it. I mean, the amount of people that is against it, you would think that we would have some type of pull or just some type of power so we could fight this, but we just have to sit here and watch Mr. Carrot be the dictator that he dreams to be. And that is, and it is sickening. It's just so sickening to have to sit here and watch these people get on TV and they say the craziest things. And we just have to just accept it, like, because they have that privilege. They have that power to where they can just do what they want to do.
Yeah. The voice of the people has completely been snuffed out.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
And where's the publicist? Don't like people in that world, don't you have like a publicist to tell you, okay, that's not a good idea. Let's not say that. Well,
he doesn't listen to anybody.
Oh my gosh. It is just bananas.
I was done when that man came on TV after that plane crash.
No.
And said DEI was the cause of the crash because there were like mentally disabled people, mentally unstable people flying the planes or
how many
air
people
traffic control.
The air traffic control, when he did all this stuff, how many people got let go or was no longer in their position? And how many planes have crashed since then? Has it been like 4 accidents, major accidents? So it's just like, and he didn't get on TV and apologize. He didn't even send condolences to the family.
No words of comfort.
Nothing.
If that was my family, I would be so pissed.
What? Oh, I bet you they are. I bet you they are. But all that I can say is, y'all just keep praying. Let's just keep praying. We got to unite somehow because
we have an orange demon in the office.
Yes.
Who shall remain nameless.
Yes.
I will not mention it.
I don't want to say his name.
Y'all, I bet somebody's family of that plane crash was like, yes, DEI was the cause. I just know it.
I don't know how true this is, and maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but you know the plane crash that crashed into the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that there was one African-American stewardess on there, right? Now, they did GoFundMe pages for all of them, and they exceeded, you know, what they were expecting, what they were asking for all of the other Caucasian people, but hers, I think she had, when I looked at it, she just had maybe like $3,000 of the whatever they were asking. So people were giving hundreds, like the other families got hundreds of thousands of dollars, whereas she wasn't getting anything. And I was just sitting here like, are y'all serious?
When people show you who they are, believe them. This is who they are. This is who they are.
But he has people thinking that DEI means black.
Yes. It's not
so
just
if you're black, it's like you didn't earn the job that you're currently at. Like you don't have 3 degrees and, you know, years and years of experience because you're black, you're a DEI hire. Like that's crazy.
Who was flying those planes? All of these planes, who were flying them? We'll let the listeners answer that question. The planes that crashed, who were flying those planes? And again, we're not blaming, I don't want to blame them because I know it's a major part of them not having the same staffing with all the changes that Trump has made. Ooh, I said his name, Jesus. Repent. But, but again, it's just like, we got to pay attention to the big picture here. Because that right there, that was total disrespect. Every American should have took that as disrespect, regardless of your race, took it as disrespect. I've never encountered a person that has lost a loved one, and I just looked at them and talked about politics.
This is a reality TV person who is now sits in the office of the White House. This is a person who understands media and propaganda. And so they propagandize everything, which is why you're having a conversation instead of hearing condolences. It also is the same reason why during COVID, there were never any conversations or condolences to the people who had lost their loved ones during COVID. I don't recall that ever. And I kept saying, when will there be some words of condolences? And even when he's reading things, or it's like he's put up there, he has no energy behind it. It isn't what he wants to do. It doesn't want to do that job. It just wants to exert power in any way possible and bring cronies in who will do its bidding. It is not human.
No. How would y'all feel if Mr. Man would he was like, hey, let me come on the podcast and talk to y'all? Well, how would y'all feel about that? Tell the truth. Would y'all accept it? We'll talk about it privately.
I don't think I could compose myself enough to do it.
Yeah. I'm going to go into the stereotype. Angry Black woman.
Right.
I could do it, but I wouldn't want to, because what would it accomplish? For me, I care about valuing my time. And what would it do other than make some sort of publicity stunt? I wouldn't, just like
this
that
is true. This
conversation
is true.
with, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not saying that, this was a planned thing. I'm just saying I wouldn't put it past that accident, that wreck. I wouldn't put it past somebody who's a reality star who thrives on chaos. I wouldn't put it past that. So I wouldn't put it past it. Anyway, coming on here and having a conversation, it would accomplish nothing. Just like when those reporters had it on stage and it became this big thing in the news during the campaign trail. So, yeah.
Man, this conversation's getting good. You know what else is good? Hope Inc. is doing a lot of good. Are you a single parent in college in Metro Atlanta and you need help with rent and childcare? Hope Inc. wants to help. Visit HOPBE.org to apply, and you could get up to $400 a month to help with rent and childcare so you can stay in school and get that degree. Again, that's HOPBE.org. Apply today. Before we end our conversation, I want to know what y'all think about the boycotting initiatives that have come up because these companies have eliminated DEI programs.
I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people is like boycott Target. I may be the only person in the world, but I didn't shop at Target like that. Every time I go in, I'm like, hold on, this shit too expensive. Like, what? I ain't finna be paying those $35 for those one little bitty ass pillow. But again, people like Target. I've been not saying I ain't shopped in there before, but I see that Target was hit hard with their opinion and the part that they played in trying to follow what this government has said and the power of the black dollar. But it would be great if we all was on that same agenda with all of these companies, including Walmart and the other places.
I was going to say, I don't understand why everybody is targeting Target. Target is not the only one who
they're not
their initiative.
I think maybe because they were the first ones to admit that they were falling out. Maybe so.
But the thing is, on some real stuff, Target is the only one who stood by their initiatives.
This is true.
Everybody else said they were going to do all this stuff and they didn't do it. So I'm not participating in the boycott. One, because I actually know someone that works at Target corporate, and that person basically confirmed what I said in the big facts, that people are doing this because they don't want to get sued. But I think overall, Target still has the principle that diversity is important to them.
Right.
So,
I mean, the point of like when you go in Target and they have a whole rainbow section, like as soon as you walk through the door, I was kind of dumbfounded to hear that they was like supporting it based on what you just said, how big they were on making sure that everyone felt welcome and had a voice.
Yeah, I think that's ingrained in their principles. But also because Target carries a lot of Black brands. And so if you are not buying from the Black brands from Target, then it's like, okay, well, nobody's buying these products.
Right.
So I think I'll just be more strategic about how I spend my money.
Right.
That
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And don't forget, for most of those brands, you can buy online. So support them on their websites because there are quite a few. I personally think that there are ways to do it. You're talking about eliminating things like workshops and panels and conversations and trainings, workshops, panels, conversations. You're talking about eliminating that, but that doesn't mean the people cannot connect and realize their humanness and the things that they have in common. So I would just encourage companies just to let your people have some time to do what they want. You don't have to call it a thing. It doesn't have to be called anything for you to allow your people to have meetings on your time, on their time, and develop a sense of belonging and inclusion together.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's transition to Lisa's pieces.
All right. So I recently had to alter or change my piece today based on an experience that I occurred here recently. I'm not going to say where but this is what this piece is about. It's about challenging the challenges that we accept and how we react to them based on who we are. And I tell you, she was an older lady whose skin reflected privilege. Liver spots outshined her red almond-shaped nails as she asked, "Are you a DEI hire?" Silence sat upon me to where the usual shock once reside. The blank stare was my reply. Her scramble to continue tweaked my comedic but yet modest mindset. Her next words exited those coffee-stained veneers. One word stumbled over the other like a dream battling the nightmare. Me, sure of her common sense matching my own, I give the benefit of the doubt. Her tone so concerned. She asked again, "Are you worried about your job with the distraction of our leaders?" As a Black woman, adapting to what my mom instructed me to do was to think before I spoke. And Granny said everything that doesn't deserve a reply. That reply is sometimes accepted as if you are seemingly angry all the time. I simply said, "I don't know. Politics in public doesn't look good on me. And I'd rather just sit here, look beautiful, smile to show my natural teeth and the signature red lip I was born with. Have a good day. Thank you."
Girl, you better than me.
I was somewhere I couldn't show out, and it's unfortunate that I can't, sometimes I'm a work in progress, because there are certain things that I don't know how to say yet, professionally. Now, I do have a way of being witty. There are plenty of times where I had to come up with a witty remark to kind of shut that down, what they're saying. But in this case, because it had just happened, I was like, baby, I ain't got time for this today.
I would have been like, why? Because I'm Black?
Just let her go on. Because she got her own stuff she worried about. She need to be worried about all of that stuff.
Them coffee stained veneers. That's what she need to be worried about. She ain't got that Shannon smile. That Shannon smile.
Right.
People paying for that.
Right.
But hers is all
and she been tanning a little too much. And I'm like, baby, I don't have time for it today. I just don't. So I'm just going to exit the conversation because we have obviously nothing in common, and I don't feel like giving it the energy. So why should I?
I would have just threw it back at her. Like, were you a DEI hire on your job?
Right.
Clearly, ma'am, you fit the DEI.
Because they said white women. No, but again, I don't have time for it. No. Not today.
Well, ladies, it's time. What is your call to action for the culture?
My call to action for the culture is become one with what's going on in the world. Make yourself aware of the actual orders and don't just take somebody's word for it. Read, do research, even listening to our podcast is kind of like research, as the lovely co-hosts here give a lot of vital information. Yes, it's our opinions, but again, it does contribute.
Some of it is big facts.
Some of them is big facts.
Yeah.
But it contributes to what is going on. And the main goal of Blacktivities podcast is to put this information out to give you something to think about. That way you are on top of it. So pay attention, do research, make sure you're voting. That's it. And talk about it among yourselves to just see, so yes.
So my call to action for our community is to take your focus off of those who didn't do the right thing. Like Black men, 88% voted. 92% of Black women voted not for this current administration. So with that said, and everybody who's trying to figure out where we are right now and the fact that we are on hiatus from saving the world, go ahead and keep going with that. We are not responsible for carrying the burdens on our back. We have done so much for this country. We are not responsible. And so do your, wusa, do your namyo renge kyo, do whatever you have to do to settle your soul, whatever that looks like, for the next 4 years. And if you want to tap in, tap in. If you want to do something that frees your mind, if you want to see what's going on, if you want to get active, but pace yourself as you see fit. That's my call for everybody.
I'm calling the culture to be our own doggone DEI. Hire Black, buy Black, support Black, stand up for Black, represent Black till they can't stand our behinds even more than they don't already.
Mm-hmm.
Also, pay attention. Read and find the facts yourself. Don't go off your favorite IG account.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go off YouTube creators. Don't even go off of what the news says. Look it up for yourself, because somebody has an agenda and they're telling people what they want them to know. If you enjoyed this episode, click that plus in Apple Podcasts or that subscribe button in YouTube to make sure that you keep getting these episodes. But also, we love to hear what you love about the show in the comments. And we love reading your reviews. Thank you to our sponsor, Hope Inc. nonprofit that I give to personally every month. If you want to be a part of what Hope is doing to help the single parents, or if you're a single parent yourself or you know somebody who's a single parent, send them to Hope's website, HOPBE.org. And until we meet again,
King and queens keep doing big things. Let's go.